All right. I
Okay,
will
Mr.
call.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Lynn. All right. My name is John Coppola, and I will call this meeting to order. Welcome to the February 23rd, 2026 meeting of the Reston Planning and Zoning Committee. The meeting is being held via Teams and is being recorded. The video archive will be available on the Reston Planning and Zoning website following the meeting. As we begin, please be reminded that all participants are expected to engage with civility and respect, both in the online chat and during public comments, so that we can foster a constructive and inclusive discussion. If citizens attending the meeting wish to make a comment or ask a question following the presentation by the applicant and the discussion by the committee, they may raise their hand in the Teams app. The moderator will notify me and unmute the citizen, and then citizens will identify themselves by name and address before making comments or asking a question. If a citizen has a special communication requirement, these can be accommodated, and we ask that you keep your comments and questions to a reasonable amount of time. That being stated, on our agenda to start with, we have land use application for Reston Station signage presented, Comstock presented by Jill Parks. So Jill, please take it away.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all.
Hello.
Hello. I am going to share my screen. Please let me know if you can see.
We can see it.
Okay. Slideshow. So, okay. Can you see the full screen, or you can see, let's see from the beginning. Here we go. So here we are. And just a quick reminder, we're here on the Reston Station, Reston Row special exception for signage. When we last saw you, you voted in favor of all of the signage that we are proposing, except you asked us to, or we asked you to defer your decision on the Dulles Toll Road sign because you had asked us to provide you with some graphics, video simulations of what the Dulles Toll Road sign would actually look like. We did provide those video simulations to John. I hope you've had a chance to look through them. But just to go through it with you, just as a quick recollection, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the connector sign between the office buildings 2 and 3. There are currently 5 logos approved for that sign. All we're asking to do is to digitize the portion within the yellow dotted line. None of those logos can be more than 200 square feet each. And so the total amount of signage on that black board is 1,000 square feet. The board, it must be black at all times. It's in both the plans. We've self-limited to having the background be black, and it's in the development conditions as well. So to your question about what the sign would look like, here you are driving west along the Dulles Toll Road with the sign on your right. Sorry, that's not moving. Okay, here's the next one at nighttime, same view. Most likely the logos will probably be in white lettering, but we were asked to also show them in the event that the tenants decide to make them colored. So this is what it would look like. Now you're driving east towards the city with the sign on the left. As you can tell, because of the rail station, it's really barely visible. And here it is at night. Once again, barely visible, not discernible, not distinguishable from any of the other lights that are on the metro. Just a quick reminder, here are the limitations that we self-impose. These are on the plan sets themselves. And then this was not up for vote or for consideration, but we did get feedback from you all at the last P&Z committee meeting, and we did get feedback from both staff and the Planning Commission that the JW Marriott sign was too bright. The sign at the time that we last presented to you was what it looks like on the left. That's, I believe it's like 256 nits. We were asked by county staff to reduce the nets from the 256 to 155, which was in the middle. we took it upon ourselves to further reduce the nets to, it's about 100 at this point, which is the one on the right. It's been in that condition for the last several weeks. I hope you all have noticed it and noticed the change. And I'm anticipating that you find it improved. Here it is again. And just to let you know, we've commissioned an independent third-party analysis of the nits to demonstrate that we are able to meet the NIT standards that we are saying that we will meet, which is 118 on the south side and 93 on the east side. The signs are a tiny bit different sizes themselves. So that's why there's a little variation. But all in all, it's still going to be about 118 nits max, where again, I'll remind you that the county had asked us to do 155, and the current zoning ordinance and the permits allow us to go up to 300. And that's really it. We hope that we have your support. We hope that you find these items helpful.
So thank you, Jill. Just like last time, I'll be recusing myself from any discussion or questions, but I'll continue to moderate. Does anyone on the P&Z have any questions or comments? Yes, Lynn.
I remain concerned at the sizing of this digital sign. As I mentioned last time, this is bigger than a billboard. And I do recall there were some questions that came up, Jill, when you presented to the Planning Commission from staff regarding the fact that this is on I don't know if we figured out that the toll road was an interstate because it goes to the airport. But there are legal ramifications for putting this kind of a signage up if it's an interstate. But I'm personally not in favor of moving forward with that.
Should I respond or wait till the questions are over? How do you want me to do it, John?
Sure. Feel free to respond. That's fine.
Okay. VDOT, Kevin Nelson with VDOT did raise some questions, but he more sort of was saying, has this been looked at? Has this been confirmed? Staff has twice opined that we are well within all the regulations that we need to be. There's no issues with federal funding. There's no issues with federal highways. There's no issue with the Virginia State Code regulations. And the county attorney has opined on that as well. So we thank them for raising it. We've double, triple checked that it's not an issue. And this sign is no different than any of the other signs up and down the toll road that are similarly lit or brighter, quite frankly. So there's no reason all of a sudden that there's some sort of issue with federal funding. It's just not, it's not accurate.
Okay. Thank you, Jill.
Sure.
Mike Jennings, it looks like you had your hand up. Is it still okay? There you go.
Yeah, I do. I do notice the difference in the JW Marriott sign, but I still don't like it. I think it's too bright. I wouldn't want to be living in those places across from it. And I think that, I have a feeling that the other signs are going to be kind of bright. It's just disappointing that when this came before, I went back and looked at my paperwork from Reston Station before when this came before, and it was not included in it. Boy, I would have been all over it. But I know it's moot. It meets all the county requirements, but I don't like it, and I won't be supporting it. That's all I got to say.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike. Anyone else? David or Sue, or Sue.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Could you verify that there will be no flashing, no streaming, no flickering of the Marriott sign, either now or in the future, and also no video, no sound?
I can verify that.
Okay.
It's on the plans, it's in the development conditions, and I'm just trying to having some technical issues. Oh, sorry, here it is. So this is for the toll road, and if you look here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but use of flashing, streaming, flickering, etc. prohibited. Video and sound prohibited. And it's the same. It's the same at JW.
Okay, all right. And, I do understand that Reston Row is an urban rail-focused mixed-use neighborhood. And you've said in the past that you do want signage that's unique and distinct. And, something that's going to distinguish Reston Row as a premier innovation hub. At the same time, so is Reston Town Center, and neither metro location should outdo the other in terms of lighting or signage. Reston Town Center is pretty subdued and tasteful. Nothing shouts out. Probably the Lido sign is maybe the most outstanding because of the purple color. But can you compare what this Marriott sign is going to look like in comparison to the signage and lighting at the Reston Town Center?
Yeah, I mean, I really can't. I really can't. I'm sorry. I didn't have anything to do with the development of the Reston Town Center, so I can't. I understand that you prefer it. I really, I'm sorry. I have no idea. I would be really guessing.
I guess I'm reacting to, Mike's comment and also Lynn's comment and how they think that the illumination is too bright. And so I'm trying to get a sense for, are we following what, Reston Town Center followed for lighting and signage? We're comparing, to quite similar metro stations, and I think there should be some consistency across those. So I would like to know, if it's similar. I mean, I think Town Center illumination is fine to me, and the signage at this point. And I wouldn't want something much higher in illumination or bigger in size that would make the signage in Reston Town Center look dwarfed. So I'm trying to get a comparison here to make a decision.
Okay, what I will do is I've got my senior land use planner, Samantha Stackety, on the line. And while we're talking and more questions are being asked, I'm going to go ahead and ask her to pull up some slides that we had prepared just so that for comparison levels. They're not with the Reston Town Center, but they are with the Tyson's Corner Center. And we do have some on Mosaic, and we also do have some with Capital One. So those are all, very similar, very urban. And, our signs, quite frankly, are not as bright as those signs. And those signs, especially at Tyson's Corner Center, they do have movement, they do have flashing, they do have rolling imagery. Flat out, they have advertisements that are playing at Mosaic. If you're ever on that lawn and you're, going to the movie theater and you want to sit there in peace, you look up and there's like a full ad, running through a full commercial. And so I would say that those are also very good comparables, and this is better by miles. By miles.
Okay.
So it's all relative. I guess I'm saying it's all relative, right? I mean, everyone has different opinions. We're trying to find a sweet spot where we feel like we are, sort of maximizing the signage opportunities that we need to in order to satisfy these really important anchor tenants that we have for the site. Booz Allen, as I've mentioned before, thought that the signage issue was the single biggest lease issue that it had. It's a huge draw. So we're trying to find the middle ground between that and the community's legitimate concerns about the brightness of the sign. And we think, and I think that at least with the JW Marriott sign, that we've taken it really far, and it looks good, and it looks significantly better than we're allowed to do, and it looks significantly better than we were asked to do. So I understand it's not your preference. I understand you still have concerns. I really do. I'm hoping that you'll work with me to, come somewhere in the middle and see what we're trying to balance. So Sam is putting up this screen that's at Mosaic. This is the middle of the day. It's a wine advertisement right in the middle. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, it's just hard to meet in the middle when we have comparisons to Tyson Center. This
is Tyson's Corner Center right here.
Reston Town Center, and I think that information could be very useful. I wonder, did you work with the neighborhood, the residential neighborhood to the east. You know, I'm thinking the Reston
Midline?
State Boulevard, Midline Avenue, Becker Street, how those people feel about the impact of the illumination and the size, et cetera, at night.
I mean, I don't know that we specifically sat down with those folks. I will say that we are affiliated with the Midline site, so I'm not sure that would have the outcome that you would want. But um, listen, there's a spectrum, right? Look at what you're looking at. This is Tyson's Corner Center. This is during the day. This is an advertisement for PenFed on the side of the parking garage. That is enormous. This is a billboard. We're not doing anything close to this. And so I guess I would say I don't find it really fair to limit the comps to just the ones that are more conservative than ours. The comps, are on a pretty wide spectrum, and we fall much closer to Reston Town Center than we do to Tyson's Corner Center or Mosaic or any of these other sites. Like respectfully, it has to all be looked at all at once. Thanks, Sam.
Regarding the Dulles Toll Road signage, just on the side, definitely all white lights looks better than what you did show tonight. Thank you very much.
Thanks, you. I don't disagree with you about that. It's not my choice at the end of the day, but I don't disagree with you for what it's worth.
Thank you, Sue. David, did you have anything?
No, I'll pass.
Okay, thank you. Tammy, would you please go? And you're muted.
Yeah.
Thank you. We have two things going on here. One is the top of the building of the hotel building, JW Marriott sign that was approved in air. That's number one. Number two, we have the toll road billboard sign. I think Jill claims that they've reduced the nits right to or left to right, and it looks better with the reduced nits. But what guarantee do we have that those nits will remain low? We have none. So this is extremely, upsetting that this was A, approved in air, and B, we have a statement that the nits are reduced, but no guarantee that they're going to stay reduced. So, and believe me, if this had come before this body, that I'm talking about the top of the hotel sign, it would never have made it out of this committee approved, ever, because the effects on the neighbors to the south and east are egregious at best. The billboard sign, we have a different issue, and that is the size. First of all, we are not Tyson's Corner. We don't want to be Tyson's Corner. We will never be Tyson's Corner. This is Reston. We have different standards here. So to say, well, please, please look at everything. Yeah, we've looked and we hate it. So no, that's a hell no. So there's two issues: the size of the billboard and the top of the JW Marriott that is now reduced in brightness. So I'm having a very hard time even considering passage of this. Thank you.
That's fine. Tammy, just to let you know, I understand your concerns, and I understand, that you're saying that you have no recourse. You do, because you're not the only one who's concerned about this. The county is as well. In front of you on the screen is a development condition that staff is requiring us to agree to, which says that they can come in and check us anytime they want. Anytime they want. And we have to provide an analysis and a certification that it is what we said that we're going to do. So there is recourse. There absolutely is. That's number one. And number two, I understand that you don't love the size of what you're calling a billboard. I will say that the structure itself is approved, has been approved forever, is installed. As you can see, when you drive down the toll road, it's there now. 5 signs are approved on that sign now. Nothing has changed other than we reduced the amount of signage that is on that structure to 1,000 square foot of signage, which it wasn't. It's exactly the same. It's just electronic. It's not, it's been there forever. It's been in in this comprehensive sign plan. It's been there forever. It's not new. Thank you.
All right, thank you. William Penniman.
Hi, Jill. Just on the billboard, you showed the pictures, how it looks driving to the west and driving to the east. And that seemed reasonable. Am I correct, though, that the existence of the metro station will pretty much protect the people to the south from the signage, from the lighting?
100%.
Okay, that's my main concern. And then as to the JW Marriott sign, I think it is a big improvement. I don't think it's, as I understand it, it's not really before us. But
No, it's not.
If I would just make a suggestion, if you could soften the lighting a bit more for up there, I don't think it would harm the client because it would still be visible for anybody coming up and down the toll road, and thus anybody who's interested in doing business there. So I just urge you to take a look at that and either soften the whiting to something a little off-white or maybe reduce the brightness. But I think you can do it and still protect the clients and help make the neighborhood happy.
Thank
And that's all.
you. Thank you, William. I will say, just for what it's worth, the brightness was reduced by more than 60%.
I understand.
No, I'm not arguing with you at all. I promise
Okay.
I'm not. I'm just providing more information. I'm trying to
No, I
respond to
understand.
your point. We changed the color of the bulbs and the types of bulbs from blue light to
Yes.
amber light, warm light, because we were asked to do that because the blue light is more screen light and bad for the eyes, whereas the amber light is the softer light and is the better light. So maybe that change is not perceptible necessarily, when you're looking at it from where you're looking at, but I want to let you know the bulbs have been changed, the color bulb of the light.
You talk to your client about possibly changing them to make them still a little softer.
Understood.
And I think that would help. But I do appreciate the fact of what you've done already. And I think it is a big improvement. Just more might be better.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Mike, looks like you raised your hand again. Is that accurate?
Yeah, just one brief comment. I just wanted to, showing the signs for Merrifield and Tyson Center, it's not exactly apples to apples, because if you look at, I just scanned the maps, there aren't residential areas, especially that sign you showed with the Penn Fed. I think that's on the side of the parking garage that faces towards Capital One. I mean, there's just not any residences over there, and same in Merrifield. So I understand why you're showing those and how much brighter they are, but it's not really equivalent. So we got to be careful about making that kind of comparison. That's why I just wanted to point that out.
Thanks, Mike. Understood. I was showing them, I think, more to address the question about the toll road sign, which, as someone stated, it is blocked by the metro station from the south, and there are no residents looking on that sign. So I actually think it is quite comparable to that sign. But thank you for your comment.
Thank you, Mike. Looks like Amy Andrews.
Okay, let me unmute myself. Thank you. I guess we're in a different area. Is there anything else along the Dulles Toll Road from where 495 starts to Dulles Airport that is any type of large digital sign? Or is this the only one?
No, I mean, I think there absolutely are signs. I mean, I don't have them in my back pocket.
The VW campus has a digital emblem on the side of the building facing the toll road, and it changes. Sometimes it's the Audi logo, sometimes it's the VW logo, but that is a digital sign along the Dulles Toll Road.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was just kind of, wondering if this is because otherwise, obviously, it's more if you're driving along and this is the only time you have that type of, if it's nighttime and that's the only time you see something. So thank you for answering that question.
Thanks, Amy. There's also a lot more digital signage as you head towards the airport. There's a lot more down there.
Thank you. William, I think your hand is still up, but I don't know if you intend it to be or not.
I
All
did
right.
not.
Jared.
Sorry, I've been off camera because I've been eating my dinner because I got home late. So Jill, question for you, because I watched the video of the presentation that was given to the commission. And on that video, I think you had even mentioned that you were talking about the formula for calculating nits, right? Which we get hung up around the number of this. And so my interpretation of what you had said and some of the research that I've done since says that the nit calculation is based, part of the formula is the area of the screen size. That's actually in the denominator of the formula.
Correct.
So I have a question again, I appreciate the rework that you've been doing on the JW Marriott. I watch it every night when I come home on the Metro. I've been watching
Check it.
When you calculate the new nit level that you put out in the graphic, is that based on the total screen area, or is that based only on the area of the part that's illuminated? Because I'm reading it as total screen area, and I just wanted to confirm how you're doing the calculation.
That is my understanding as well, and that is it's based on the whole area of the LED panel, and that's why.
That's what I thought.
Yes, that's why the south side nit level is a little bit higher than the east side nit level, because although they are lit exactly the same, the size of the south side digital panel is it's 10 feet larger.
Yeah, and so I guess this is one of my just sort of general concerns, and I don't think this is on you. I think this is a general concern about how using nits as a representative measurement actually probably isn't appropriate when we have, like, even the proposed sign for the toll road, when you have a lot of area, but the majority of it isn't going to be used, it actually skews the calculation. So I'm just a math guy, and I just don't like the math, is all I'm saying. And that's maybe also a little bit for John Carter's benefit to know that as we propagate policies, nits might not actually be the best way to calculate a factor for digital signage unless the sign is going to be fully illuminated, because then it's an honest reflection. So on that note, I'm also just fascinated, Jill, that you said you changed the light bulbs in the JW Marriott, because, man, the light still seems bright white to me. I mean, like I said, I've been looking at that sign so many times. Back to Bill Penniman's comment, if the bright white could be just yellow down in tone, I think still totally visible and would be more of a similar light emittance to all of the other affixed signage that exists around Reston Town Center. Someone's comment earlier about, well, what's currently in Reston, it's a lot of these applied signage, which actually is backlit, my guess, by fluorescence, which is carrying a more of a yellow tone than a white. Other than that, I think that could really help with the JW Marriott one. And that's why I wanted to confirm your formula calculation for the billboard, as we're calling it, facing the toll road. If there was some way to reflect a calculation that's about, no, we're going to use this much area, here's what we're actually calculating off of, I think that might be a better way of tracking. Otherwise, you yourself could get in trouble with some third party coming in and doing an assessment. It makes me nervous too.
So those are good points.
Yeah.
I'll start with maybe I misspoke when I said we changed the bulbs. We didn't go to the sign and
I didn't
take
think
the
you would
bulbs
have.
out.
That's why I wanted to ask that.
No,
So
when you
like,
said that, I was like, I'm
change
sorry, I
bulbs in
didn't know.
LED.
We, changed
Adjusted
the light of the
tone.
color of the bulbs
Yep.
from the digital panel from which we control
Yeah.
the sun. So that's
Yeah.
number one. I will bring back your question. I've got Josh Fireball with Comstock, who is on the call, so he is hearing your feedback, and he and I will talk about it after the fact. As to the nit measurement, I'm going to level with you because I am becoming more and more educated on this myself. There appear to be two ways to calculate the brightness of the sign, which I think you're probably is what you're getting to.
Yeah.
One of which uses nits, and that's measured by a luminance meter, which is the way that we're doing it. The other one is like a foot candle measurement.
Yeah.
And what the second one does is it doesn't measure, it takes into consideration all the ambient light as well. So it's a more holistic calculation. It's not just a straight up measurement of the light from the sign. It's a measurement of from the light from the sign relative to the ambient light around it, right? I don't disagree with you. Apparently, like the OAAA says that that is the preferred model to use. Absolutely. Fairfax County, Virginia measures in nits.
Yeah.
That's how they measure. That's what their zoning ordinance uses.
Yeah, I know.
As a result, the standard that we are saying to you is the standard that the county uses. I am in a position where after this is all said and done, and I've taken 9 years of vacation, I would propose to the county that maybe we look at this other sort of method and get more educated on what that means and how that might be redone. But that would require a full amendment to the zoning ordinance, right? So if and when that effort happens, I would be happy to sit on the panel as part of the development, you know, the industry groups. I would happy to be offering your feedback on my, you know, you could join as well, Jared. You know, that would be great.
I've done a lot of, I've spent too much vacation time researching this myself in the last couple of weeks.
Yes. So you're dead on. I agree with you completely. Unfortunately for us, that's not what the county currently uses. And that's why we're measuring in nits. And we've dropped the nits, like I said, from the 300 that were in the permits to the 155 that the county asked us for to the 118 and the 93. I will go back and talk to Josh about if we can make the color of the lights a little bit softer. Happy to do that.
And I guess my other last comment, just again, continuing to think about what's a good solution. A good solution might be, I think sometimes even the way this is drafted is too restrictive because it says in there that you're only going to change the sign up to once a day. Honestly, you would be better served to have a policy that says you change the sign twice a day, which actually would allow you to use a daytime setting and a nighttime setting, then I think that would actually be less impactful on the citizens of Reston, because during the day, in the ambient condition, if you use true white, it'll be readable from the toll road. Nobody's going to care. At night, if you change the color for both of these signs, it would be better perceived by the overall public. So I would even say, if you're going to do this, I would write into the change that you could change it twice a day to give you that flexibility.
I think I think it's a fair point. I think that the language, which was not written by me, but it was directed by the staff, is intended to say that we can't change because now when you talk about changing more than once a day, you're talking again about the toll road sign, I believe.
Yeah, that was I remember that on the toll road, and I was like, again, it could be overly restrictive in a way that we don't want.
I understand that. I believe the intention is, my understanding of the intention is that refers to the actual text.
That's right.
To changing the tenant name, changing the logo name, changing the text. I really don't think that it refers to changing the brightness. And I really don't think from all of these discussions that I'm having constantly that the county would be in any way, you know, opposed to us sort of, because I think too that the signs have photocells in them, which do change because there are different standards from dusk to dawn as there are from dawn to dusk. There are different metrics, different standards, and there's automatic dimmers and there are photocells that change it. So there is all of that technology already built into it. I don't think the condition, what you're saying, I don't think that's the intention. I just don't think that they want us to put up like, you know, PenFed and all the things that the Tyson's Corner Center has.
And for what it's worth, the photo cell that Jill was talking about and those elements, automatic dim and all that, those are included in the self restrictions that we put into place in the language that she shared earlier this evening.
Sure. And so Samantha and Jill, you can clarify me though. I think the photo cells would control, like you said, brightness, but not necessarily actually the color rendition of it.
It's not difficult to do that though.
Oh, I know it's not. I'm just, again, being very much a rule follower. People who know me know I'm a rule follower. Like if you tell me I can only change it once a day, I'll only change it once a day. So I think just something to consider in language and future conversations and maybe with the county.
Understood. Thank you for your feedback. Thanks for dialoguing with me. That was interesting. for me. I don't know about everyone else.
Thank you both. Jeremy. Jeremy.
Yep, I'm here. Sorry, I just flipping the buttons. So my comment actually is more kind of piggybacking on Jared's second point about you had mentioned how there's two different ways to measure lights, and this comment's really more for the county for doing future restrictions. Is there is actually another way, which is the total lumen output, and I would recommend that as a consideration because that does measure the total amount of light that actually comes off of the sign. I think that's a helpful measurement. And it's also something that I think is a little bit easier to compare to other things, like flashlights are measured in lumens and light bulbs are measured in lumens and things like that. So, but no particular comment about this signage.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any questions, comments from anyone from the community?
Does John Carter have any remarks?
Yeah, I've got a few actually.
Thank you. Thanks for calling that out, Tammy. John, please go ahead.
So are there, how many on the billboard, on the toll road sign, is there any repetition on that so-called billboard sign with signs that are already on the south side of or are these new signs?
I'm not sure I
Just
understand
wondering.
the question, John. I'm sorry. What, can you clarify?
Is there a repetition on the sign between the bill?
Meaning that are there tenants that have logos on the toll road sign that have also logos elsewhere?
Yes, that's it.
They do. Yeah. It's a different sign type though, John. If it's on the office building, it's, office tenant signage. The facade along the toll road is treated with a completely different sign type called unique wall tenant or unique tenant signage. So it's different. It's different, but yeah, it's quite possible that they do and will.
Okay, I guess we're all doing a little bit of research, and I have a little bit for you. The billboard signs, to be a billboard, you should be over 300 up to 5,000 nits. And that's a sort of a Tyson's look to it, if you would. The next one down is the Fairfax County standard, which is 300 nits. Also, you should be 150 feet from any single family residence, which this is. Scrolling down, we have the Illuminating Society says 150 nits maximum at nighttime. The LEED standard is 200 nits. And that has to do with the amount of electricity that's being used. It's not so much on the brightness side. And then the dark skies people say 150, I'm around 150 nits or less. So that's kind of where we are. So you've got the amber lights. And I think the other thing that I think has been a dramatic change is the size of the signs. Before, the background was lit. So the whole sign, particularly the JW Marriott, but you could have done that on the toll road sign. So now those are going to be dark background. So I don't know how useful all of that is, but this is not Tyson's. So particularly on the JW Marriott signs, it's up so high against the dark skies. So I think it's reasonable to bring that down quite a bit. The billboard sign, since it's a dark background, the size of it fits it. So that helps those that are concerned about the overall light that is coming out of this. And I guess the only other thing that I can confuse you with is the difference between nits and foot candles. I think the nits is the light that's going on the screen, on the glass itself, where the foot candles is how much you're lighting the area. So like in your house now, there's it's not the bulb, it's how the area is being lit. So again, you should be, particularly in the ones that we're concerned about dark skies, particularly in Reston versus Tyson's, you should be a bit lower. The OAAA says 0.3 foot candles above ambient levels. I think that's not useful in this area because the ambient level, you're talking dark skies, so there isn't much light. So I hope I haven't confused you too much, but that's kind of where this is.
No, John, I think that was actually really helpful because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I heard is that we are multiples of thousands of nits less than Tyson's Corner Center, and we are
Probably.
well below every single standard that you mentioned, including dark skies.
I would say you are pretty much where you should be in terms of dark skies. I was trying to make a difference between a place like Tyson's and Reston. Reston, I think the dark skies application applies, and that's
Sure.
how I think we can go reasonably below the 300 nits that you see. And it seems dark skies seems to be around 100 to 150, so as opposed to the 300 plus. When people are not quite so concerned. So that's kind of the best I can do, I think. So now it's a judgment on what you think.
Thanks, John. I
But
appreciate that.
I do think the JW Marriott is quite a lot better. I think your graphics, when that originally came up, I couldn't tell the difference between the background and the sign. The background was so light. And you could see that from such a distance, and you couldn't read it because the background was the same as the lettering. So from a distance, it just looked the same. So that one on the left doesn't really. It was a white background with white letters before.
That's actually a black back. That's a dark background. That's less than 300. That's the county standard. But
Yeah.
but it's a far difference from what we're suggesting now.
But you can see why it should be less here because that's dark skies. It's just like it.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be using the 300 nits as a standard. And the foot candles, the foot candles probably doesn't apply here since the sign is not lighting anything. Really, it's when you're at the street level, that's a different story. You are lighting the street and the ambience of the street. So it's the one on the right is, it is what it is. In the end, it's the nits, getting the nits right in the range. And then finally is it okay from a judgment perspective? That's what we should be doing.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, John. And in sum, this is what I'll say. The image to the right is what it will look like. We will talk though to Jared's point about, making the bulbs a little bit softer, but this is what it will look like. And the county has, recourse if we don't stick to it. So I hope you'll consider supporting it. I really do feel like we've done a lot of work and made a lot of headway in just a short couple of weeks.
There's no question you're not going to be able to change this when, we have proffers, we have follow-ups. So it is what you see is what you get. There will not be a change to make it brighter.
Well, right, and this is actually not even included in the vote. The only thing up for vote tonight, John, is the Dulles Toll Road sign. Everything else has already been approved. But I just wanted to share all that information with you and those images with you because I do respect you as our community, as our neighbors, and I know that you're uncomfortable with the sign the way it looked. And I just wanted to make you part of the conversation, even though it's not a part of the formal approval. So that's why it's there. But really, the vote is on the toll road, and we hope that you will support us. We hope that you from the video sims that we had circulated and the images that we showed, will know that it's really not a huge, it's really imperceptible. It's not that bright. It won't look like a billboard. And we think it's
Yeah.
quite tasteful. We hope you support it.
Do you have an image of the area so that people could see the comparison between these signs and the other signs in, even in Reston Row and Reston Station? Do you have a picture like that?
Don't think so. Sam, thoughts?
That shows the D1 sign against a
All
Do
of
you
the
want that?
signs. It shows all the signs together. That if you don't have it, it might be good for the planning commission when we go back.
Okay, let's
I mean,
talk
if you
offline
pull
about
up,
that.
if you pull up the toll road frontage image, Jill, or I can share. I mean, there are signs on that show the traditional signs that are on there today, like the CVS pharmacy, and I think it's I forget the tenant in the green. If you go to slide 5.
I was looking for a picture that would be from the east looking towards the Marriott sign and the toll road and the rest of the, like the boulevard and the other office buildings that are there. I think that I actually
Okay, from
have
the
that.
east.
It's not
Yeah.
on the same
I'm-
plane
I'm-
though, John, so I don't know that but we can talk offline. We don't have that right now. So if there's
Yeah.
something you want us to come in on Wednesday, assuming I make it on Wednesday because I'm stuck in Boston in a blizzard.
I think it would be useful. I think it would be useful because that seems to be what people are concerned about. Is this in the right range of signs for Reston?
I'll call you
Okay.
tomorrow if that's all right, so I can understand better what you're asking. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
All right, Lynn.
Okay, well, that's the best I can do.
Oh, thank you, John. Sorry. Did you have any other comments?
No, that'll do.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Lynn, looks like you raised your hand again.
Yeah, thank you, John. I just wanted to remind the committee that, while this sign plan amendment cannot overrule the approved permit that was awarded erroneously, this special exception process that's now underway could present an opportunity to continue to address the community concerns regarding the JW Marriott sign. And one of the things that I did not hear considered is the suggestion of possibly turning the light off at night. Is that something that you all discussed, Jill?
It's something that we discussed, but it's not something that we're able to accommodate. It's just not, we've got leases with the JW Marriott, and we really do think that we've had a reasonable proposal for you all. I do want to show you what's up on the screen again. These are the development conditions that have been mandated basically by the county. If you look at D right above the red here, they are requiring us to get new permits for the JW Marriott sign before we are allowed to pull any other permit for any other sign in this proposal. So the county is holding us accountable, and they are making sure that those old permits that were approved, by, as they admit, in error, they go away as soon as the special exception is approved. We have already prepared our new permit packages. They're ready to go. And so as soon as the Board of Supervisors slams the gavel down on this special exception, those old permits are going to be replaced with new permits, which include all of these conditions and restrictions. So you do have something here, and it's been used by the county, very well, I think, to hold us accountable. They've done a good job, is what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you, Jill. Thank you, Lynn. Does anyone else on the committee or John or anyone else have something to comment on or questions? Anyone from the community? Mark, I don't see any hands up. I don't know if there's, you're controlling anything that you're allowing people to raise hands individually, or are we good to go?
I don't see any hands up on cameras or using the app, so I think we're good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Would someone like to make a motion? Bill Penniman.
Yes, I move that we approve the billboard sign facing the toll road as currently proposed.
Do I have a second?
Minor point, I would not use the word billboard because that has a different connotation. It's the D1 sign.
I'll modify it to approve the D1 sign as proposed, subject to conditions they've agreed to.
Do I hear a second? Okay. I do not currently have a second. Is there another proposal on the table?
I do see a hand up.
I
Jen.
second.
Yeah, Jean did. Thanks, Jean.
Jean who?
Who's Jean
Jean-
Lee?
Jean
don't
is
have
not part of the P and Z.
Oh, I don't know.
What? Who is Jean? There's no Jean on the P&Z.
No.
Thanks, Jean.
Okay.
And
I don't
somebody
have a second.
second it so that the rest of us can vote against it.
Well, someone can make a different motion. You don't have to vote on that motion if it's not seconded. Lynn. You're muted, sorry.
Thank you. I was sparing you all the noise from me blowing my nose, but I would like to make a motion that Reston Planning and Zoning deny approval of D1 as proposed in the application and maintain the existing signage that has been approved.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further commentary?
What? There's no change in the D1, right? It's the Marriott that changed.
No, the original signage that has the logos on the side of the building is what's been approved. They're asking for approval of this unique digital sign.
Well, just
You
so
talk
that
about
we're clear,
the
what's been approved are 5 logos on that black structure that you can see when you're driving on the toll road. It's bigger. There's more signage that's allowed. The only thing we were asking you for is to make them digital so that we can change them and attend to the tenants' needs. But it will look exactly the same. It's just what's approved. It just won't be digital. But just for clarification, that's what's approved today.
Thank you for the clarification.
Sure.
All right. Bill Penman? Do you have something else to add, or is your hand still up?
Yeah, I mean, I was just wondering what changing to digital how that matters, but people will vote however they want.
I will add, thanks, Bill. I will add, the county is holding us to the same NIT level of, 100-ish on the D1 sign as well. So they are reducing the brightness of that sign well below the zoning ordinance, well below, it's previously proposed 155. So it will be digital, but it will be, not that bright. And as you heard, Commissioner Carter say earlier, it would still be well below all of the recommendations for all digital signs everywhere. It will be
Okay.
brighter if it's lit. I think.
Thank you, Jill. All right. We have a motion by Lynn, a second by Jeremy, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep, it was me. It was Jeremy.
All right. All in favor, please raise your hand. And Lynn, if you can help me just count these up. Oh,
I
it counts
think
for me.
you need to have Jean Lee lower her hand.
Jean Lee needs to lower her hand. Yeah.
Did I get it done? No. Are you able to control that, Mark?
Yes,
Thank
Gene,
you.
if you could please not raise your hand while the vote is happening.
So I guess back up again.
So
Then
we've got
lower.
All right, I can subtract one. Looks like we have
John, this is Dave. We're trying to raise our hand. It doesn't seem to be working. And that would be 2 votes for.
2 votes for. Okay.
so 7.
So I have a total of, let's see, 6 currently registered plus 2 for David and Sue. Jean Lee's hand is down. So that would be 8 for.
Mm-hmm.
8 for. So it'll pass. All opposed. Please, everyone put your hands back down, please. I have Bill Penniman. Anyone else? And then I abstain. John Coppola. So the motion passes to not approve as presented.
And that's 8 for, 1 against, and 1 abstention.
That's correct. Okay, well, thank you, Jill. I know that's not the outcome you were hoping for, but it is in the record. All right, we're going to move to the next agenda item. The next application is the Lofts 2 at Reston Station rezoning application. Applicant is Pulte and the representative is Kelly.
Yeah,
I can never say your last name correctly, Kelly. Can you say your last name for us?
It's Pasesti.
Pasesti, sorry. If I guess, I would guess wrong.
That's okay.
Thank you,
Brian's
Kelly.
going to give our presentation, Brian Winterhalter. So he's on the line as well.
Okay, great.
Hello,
Thank you,
everyone.
Kelly. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, John. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Brian Winterhalter with DLA Piper, as you know, here with Kelly from our office, as well as David DeMarco, Don Hughes, and Megan Easley of Pulte, Jessica Bradshaw of LDC, our engineer, and Maria Lashinger and Lauren Snyder at Grove Slate, our traffic consultants. You know this site. It is 3 parcels off of Samuel Morse Drive, collectively 5 acres. There's been a long and winding road for this application that dates back to even earlier than 2019 when we submitted this plan. I know a number of you are familiar with this saga, so please bear with me. Some of you may not be as familiar with it, so I did want to provide everyone with an update. And I know it's been quite a while since we've been at the P&Z, although we've been hard at work with the county and we've had some additional community meetings as well on this application. So just to recap for everyone, back in February of 2019, this was 2 of the 3 parcels on Samuel Morse Drive. So this is the Austin Weston Cosmetic Surgery Center building roughly here. This area is where the current Society for Nuclear Medicine building is here. And this is the Constellation Federal Credit Union building here. So the project initially was 2 of the 3 parcels on Samuel Morse Drive. It was a total of 90 units, including a multifamily building and stacked townhouses, as you can see in the configuration on the screen. Fast forward to July of 2019, and at that point, we had been coordinating with the credit union folks, and they were interested in joining the application as well. So that's this building here. And then we also, at the time, were coordinating with Bognet, the owner of this property here, and had contemplated a coordinated development plan under, ideally, it would have been 1 rezoning application for the 3 Samuel Morse Drive parcels, plus the Bognet property. As you all may know, Bognet ultimately decided to proceed with a separate application. That application has been filed and accepted by the county and is under review by county staff and is still ongoing. By November of 2019, we had modified the development plan a bit. As you see here, it was a total of 140 units. Again, still a mix of multifamily units and stacked townhouse units, with multifamily proposed on the Bognet property. This was about the time of the initiation of the overall Reston comp plan study, which I know you're all quite familiar with, so I won't be late for that. At the time, we had requested that our project for the Samuel Morse Drive parcels proceed separately from the comprehensive plan amendment study. We thought it would be beneficial to have our site-specific study, or sorry, site-specific review for our project be separate from the overall comp plan study. We ultimately, at the time, were directed to work with the Comp Plan Task Force, as many of you know, and we had submitted correspondence to the task force during the Reston Comp Plan study, and we had also submitted some development plans to the task force as well, noting the benefits of our proposed project. By March of 2020, we had a development plan that no longer included the Bognet property, was back to 3 parcels on Samuel Morse Drive. This is collectively 5 acres. Again, a mix of multifamily units and stacked townhouse units, a total of 140 dwelling units in this version of the plan. By January of 2021, there was an opportunity to coordinate not with Bognet, but with the Meridian parcel. As some of you may recall, this parcel here, which is owned by Meridian, is the surface parking lot today. And it was part of the zoning approvals when Rooney and Meridian came forward with the 11111 Sunset Hills Road office building, which is off the page down here, and then the adjacent Rooney multifamily and townhouses, which is roughly about here. As part of that application, this land bay was approved for approximately 225,000 square feet of development, and the options for that property at the time that were approved on the CDP were for an office building, a hotel, or senior housing. By the time that we were moving forward with this version of our development plan in January of 2021, those options for the Meridian parcel were no longer seen to be viable, and Meridian was interested in coordinating with us and including that land bay as part of this overall development project. At that time, as you can see on the screen, we had proposed 190 dwelling units, 100 multifamily units, and 90 stacked townhouse units. Many of you already know that the Comprehensive Plan Task Force included a recommendation for a residential option on our site. It was at a 1.0 FAR and included some additional development criteria related to the completion of Reston Station Boulevard as a complete street, tree canopy, updated stormwater management, and also the dedication of land and construction of a portion of the extension of South Lakes Drive if adjoining the site. I think many of you also are familiar with, you can see my big red X. By the end of the Comprehensive Plan Task Force effort, and really actually more precisely when the recommendations left the task force and went to county staff determined that in their view, it was not appropriate to include a site-specific recommendation in the overall Reston comp plan amendment. So this was stripped out of the comp plan amendment, and we then needed to proceed with our own separate SSPA nomination. We also had a consideration related to right-of-way. This is the ultimate connection and extension for the South Lakes overpass. If you can see along the right-hand side of the screen, there is an existing road that comes up from this circle that's on the 11111 Sunset Hills property and extends out to Sunset Hills Road. That's in the existing condition. This is intended to be the ultimate condition. And then there would be additional right-of-way added with the development ultimately of parcels across on the other side here to add to this to make the ultimate connection and then extension of this connection as the South Lakes overpass across the toll road. To make a long and somewhat cumbersome story much shorter, we needed right-of-way as part of our application that wasn't feasible to be done, and so excuse me. So we weren't able to proceed with this version of our development plan because the county ultimately determined that the road that is here in its existing condition needed to remain in place. So by June of 2024, we had then come up with an alternative design, which still included the Meridian parcel, but kept this road connection that exists today in its currently existing condition. And this was a total of 199 dwelling units back in May 2024. June 2024. Ultimately, Meridian was no longer able to participate in our proposal. They were having some challenges. Their lender became involved. I'm frankly not aware of all of the details, but it became a bit too cumbersome because their lender was essentially in control of the process, and we were no longer able to participate, or they were really no longer able to participate. So by April of last year, we had an updated development plan that we had presented for just the 3 Samuel Morse Drive parcels. It has 3 multifamily buildings. They're clustered along Reston Station Boulevard here, and then a multifamily building here along this Sunset Hills Road connection here. And then we had the 2/2s in the northern portion of the property with park spaces along Sunset Hills Road. This was a total of 156 dwelling units. We received a lot of feedback on this plan, and there were concerns about noise impacts on the park spaces along Sunset Hills Road. There was also a concern and a desire, really more than a concern, I think I would say, a desire from an urban design perspective to have residential units fronting on Sunset Hills Road rather than having the park spaces here and the units sort of pulled back a bit. So in February, we revised our plan. This is our current option that we are proceeding with the county and what we are presenting to you this evening. So unlike the plan we had before from last year, we now have units fronting along Sunset Hills Road. These are stacked townhouse units. We have a larger consolidated park space in the central area of the site. We also have park space here along Reston Station Boulevard. There's a nice promenade area that connects the park spaces here and connects to park space here. And then we have more passive seating, more residential amenity park space here as well. Overall, the project now is at a 1.39 FAR. While that is a bit higher than the previous recommendation from the task force and the comprehensive plan effort, this is also inclusive of all of the workforce dwelling units, so that the actual FAR would be a bit lower, but this is an all-in number. Overall, we have 1.44 acres of open space, 0.45 acres of publicly accessible urban park space that exceeds the recommended park space for the project under the park space standards, which is 0.41 acres of park space. We have fewer AM and PM peak hour vehicle trips compared to the 0.5 FAR office use. We recognize that the buildings aren't totally occupied. Nevertheless, for purposes of the comprehensive plan, we're comparing what we're proposing to comparing what's in the comp plan as it exists today. So we are fewer vehicle trips on a peak hour basis in the AM and PM than what is currently recommended in the comprehensive plan for this site. We are completing the full streetscape on Reston Station Boulevard across the entire frontage of the property. That includes, if you see in the cross section, this is the existing condition with the travel lanes, and then this is the south side, so this is the north side here. We are adding the on-street parking lane, the landscape amenity panel with the street trees, sidewalk, and then there's a building zone before the face of our building. So as you see in this cross section, the ultimate section of Reston Station Boulevard across the entire frontage of our property will be completed and upgraded as recommended in the comprehensive plan, which of course will certainly enhance pedestrian connectivity in the overall metro station area. And we think the multifamily buildings on the south side of our site along Reston Station Boulevard will really nicely frame the street. This is a view of the architectural design. This is the multifamily building. And then the stacked townhouse units. Here are some renderings of the park spaces. This is the large central park area with a multi-purpose open lawn, some additional seating and shaded areas, and a children's play area as well. And then this is the park space in the northwest corner of the site. Again, more of a passive gathering area space. This is the space on the left here. This is along Reston Station Boulevard, so it's a little bit off the left-hand side of the screen, but Reston Station Boulevard is to the left. And then this is the nice park at the corner, framed by the multifamily buildings. In the middle here, you see this is the promenade area that connects the park spaces north to south. So this is Reston Station Boulevard where you're looking back toward the interior of the site. And then this is sort of in from the other side. We have a loading area, which is the garage access for the two multifamily buildings along Reston Station Boulevard, and actually also the access for the third multifamily building as well. So that there isn't a separate access point, and we can look at that in plan view in more detail. But to screen that area, which also, by the way, is a level below grade. So the garage for these two multifamily buildings is below grade. So basically each of these multifamily buildings is one level of garage. The multifamily building on the left is 4 stories above the garage. The multifamily building on the right is 5 stories above the garage. And then the multifamily building along Sunset Hills Road, or sort of fronting along the connecting road to go to Sunset Hills Road, that is a 5-story building as well above the one level of parking. But the parking is below grade here along Reston Station Boulevard. Nevertheless, the county staff suggested that we have some sort of screen wall, which we've wanted to have some colorful artwork on it to dress it up a bit and make it look nicer. So we have that here on Reston Station Boulevard to screen the garage access and loading area, which is behind and down. I really like these renderings. This is a nice view, I think, of the proposed development. You see the character and the form of the development and how it fits in quite nicely with the overall neighborhood that's emerging here in the Metro Station area. So obviously Sunset Hills Road is here, Reston Station Boulevard here. This is the Rooney multifamily. These are the townhouses here, and then the other multifamily building here. These buildings, especially this one, was the exact same building essentially as this Lofts 1 building, same height, aligned in the same area along Reston Station Boulevard. Again, we're just sort of continuing the urban fabric of what's being developed in the Metro Station area. And this is a view looking from the other direction. So this is from the west looking, from the east looking to the west. So here's the Lofts 1 building. This is the Rooney multifamily, this existing garage. The other multifamily building here, and then the Midline project and the EYA townhouses are up in that direction. And then this is the Bognet site. So just wanted to give you an overall view of the project. All of this streetscape area here, this is what we would be proposing and building with our project. So this is all a depiction of our actual proposed condition along Reston Station Boulevard, including with the park space here, the interior park spaces, and so on. This portion of the site really isn't our site. This is actually a remaining parcel that belongs to Meridian. So the property line is kind of more or less right along here, which is why there isn't additional tree plantings in this location here. And that's, all the way back. That's all we have for you for my presentation, and we're certainly happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brian. Quick question for you. Are you looking for any kind of action tonight or just comments?
No, I think we're just looking for comments at this point. So we do have a comprehensive plan amendment pending, and to give everybody an update on process, the comprehensive plan component of the project will be before the Planning Commission on April 8th and the Board of Supervisors on May 5th. We are seeking to go to the public hearings on the rezoning application before the end of the summer, which means that we have to be confirmed, not yet confirmed by county staff, but they have tentatively given us for the rezoning application a Planning Commission date of May 13th and a Board of Supervisors date of June 23rd. So there is I mentioned all that to let you know that there is time for us to come back for a vote and any follow-up that would be necessary.
Yeah, and I'll just let you know and let everyone know we currently have 2 cases on the March agenda and 2 cases on the April agenda. So we're full through there. So I don't know how that relates to what you just described, but if we need to talk separately about that, please let me know,
Okay.
Later.
Sure. Yep. Understood. Understood.
So just as a reminder, we'll be going through all of the Planning and Zoning Committee and Commissioner Carter's comments and questions first, and then I'll reach out to the community. So Adam, I see your hand is up. So if you don't mind lowering it for now, and then happy to circle back to you and I ask for comments from the community. Thank you, sir. All right. Looks like Tammy is number 1.
Thank you. Brian, thank you so much. Quick question. Is that mural actual, or is that just a photo or representative drawing that there will be a mural? Because frankly, that's ghastly.
Well, it's probably more the latter. And if there are suggestions for the mural, I think we'd be happy to entertain them. But that's more conceptual at this point than anything else.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a relief. The other question is, you mentioned that the Lofts 1 is the same building as the most westerly building of Lofts 2. Is it the same colorway? So as you come down Reston Station Boulevard, you have a contiguous color palette.
Yeah, I'll defer to Don and Mohegan at Pulte, whether it's going to be identical in terms of the color palette. It may be a bit different.
Do they know?
Yeah, it'll be compatible. I don't even know if the same color bricks are still available, but we're cognizant of that, and we'll make sure it's compatible. We'll have that information for you.
Thank you. Another question is, I had a question about garage access to building, the multifamily building that runs north-south on the most eastern border of your project here. How do you access that? Is that through the garage of 3A? Or
yes, let me pull up a plan view and go back to this, and I will show you. Whoops, hang on just a second. Okay, so the garage access is in here for both of these buildings.
Okay.
And it's also here for this building as well. You come in here, go this way, and this is one integrated connected garage underground between these 2 buildings.
Okay, good. I was like, where is the access for this building?
We did think about that, yes.
Great, thank you. I'm very interested in the many iterations of placement of your buildings and your plan. So thank you for a very clear synopsis. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you, Tammy. Lynn.
Hey, Brian. Great
Hi, Lynn.
presentation. Thank you. I had a couple of questions on the development plans that we received. These.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Go for it.
So one of my questions is, I see that you're talking about WDUs.
Yes.
I also noticed that WDUs are mentioned in the proffer statement on page 22.
Yeah.
Are you planning on ADUs, any affordable dwelling units, or is it all workforce?
Yeah, it will all be workforce dwelling units.
Okay.
And they are all, the plan certainly is for all of the units, both the multifamily units and the 3 condo flats buildings, as we refer to them, as well as the stacked townhouse units, the 2 over 2s, will all be for sale units. So the workforce dwelling units will also be for sale units.
Okay, it would be nice if you could offer some ADUs, affordable dwelling units, especially given the county's focus in affordability. So maybe too late for that, but if you could go back and maybe sharpen the pencil and make some of that available, it would be great. I'm noticing on the conceptual plan, and this is sheet 5 of 14, just a minor correction that the half-mile radius is including the golf course, and the golf courses are not included. That should be a carve out so that the dotted line is not including the golf course, just FYI.
We'll be happy to change that.
In sheet, this is the Western Parks enlargement. This is your sheet 8A of 14.
Okay.
There's a note on there that says the X denotes Morse code hidden message. What is that?
Yes. Well, Lynn, of course, you're going to have to decode it to figure out what the message is.
That was a test.
Is this a test to see if I'm reading this stuff?
I should turn it over to Jessica to answer that question and give her all of the credit for the park programming and the Morse code references throughout the park programming, because they are from Samuel Morse of Samuel Morse Drive. Is the Morse code, right? So Jessica has very creatively incorporated that theme into some of the park spaces in the project.
Yeah, so what we trying to do is kind of like leverage from like the discovery and the technology, and then at the same time human interaction that Reston portrays. And so we want to kind of to do a storytelling approach in this project and kind of connect the parks with that theme. So the theme is pretty much taking into consideration the name of the road, Samuel Morse, taking into consideration the Society of Nuclear Medicine, and kind of extracting the geometry that all these elements bring. And so the idea is to have, in a form of dots and dashes, which are really site furniture that you probably saw on the perspectives that Brian showed, which is like little kind of circular seats and then elongated benches. And they're actually located specifically in Morse code manner. So that we also have interpreted signage within all the different sites. And so there is a hidden message that spells out shape and link it, but you won't be able to decode it until you go through the entire park system, starting off from like the intersection. We wanted to connect it, and so
was explained someplace else, I missed it. So thank you so much. That's very creative.
In one of the sheets. And so to the question about the mural is not, it's not going to look like that, but it will have some thematic of the geometry that I just spoke about.
Thank you. I have 2 more questions. Just on the stormwater management checklist. I've got to admit, this is sheet 10 of 14. The type is so small, I can't read it. I'm getting a headache looking at it. So in the next time that you all come back, if you could just make that a little bit bigger, or maybe put it on 2 pages so that I can read it, I would really appreciate that. Or I guess I can invest in a magnifying glass. And then, sorry?
Yeah, sure. Oh, I was just going to say, we're happy to give it to you so that
okay. And then I just had a comment. I noticed on the stormwater manage, so this is the information sheet, but I do notice that you are designating permeable pavers as part of the project, and I think that's fabulous. Thank you for doing that from a stormwater runoff. And I'm hoping that Mr. Peggy's has his hand up, because I was looking at the green building content. So That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thanks, Lynn. Bill.
Thank you. Brian, a few questions just going through, and these are sort of random, but on parking requirements, you say 194 spaces. Is that for the entire project?
It is, although
Okay.
there, just to clarify, there are parking spaces that we have at the project that are excluded from that total as tallied up by the county. So we have in the multifamily buildings, we have some tandem spaces. They obviously would be for the same unit, 2 cars parked, front to back, in the multifamily garages. And that gives us 28 additional spaces. And then we also have driveway spaces. You see the row of 2/2s here and here. Oh, I'm getting feedback. Sorry. But there's driveway spaces here. So we
Yeah,
have,
if people who aren't speaking right now, can you mute? I'm not sure what happened there, but
we have 24 driveway spaces. So the 24 driveway spaces and the 28 tandem parking spaces are in addition to the 194 spaces.
Which works out to quite a lot. Okay.
Yeah, and candidly, as you may all not be surprised to hear, we've heard requests for additional parking from folks in the community, and we've heard requests for fewer parking spaces from the county staff. So we're trying to strike the right balance.
Okay. Well, I would urge you to follow the county staff as a going in position. So let me ask some questions about the EV charging. I mean, on paper,
Sure.
it looks good. On paper, it looks good. And I understand that the townhouses will have EV ready situations. You'll have the wires in and the panel space available for at least one charger per garage. Is that right?
That it's the option for the residents to choose to do that. Yes.
No, I thought you said you were going to have the EV readiness there. The option was whether you were going to install charger.
That's right. Sorry. Yes, you're correct. Sorry about that. Yes, you're
Okay,
right.
so they can add a charger later quite easily.
Yes, correct.
That's the important
Yes, that
thing.
was the goal. Sorry,
That's
I
good.
misunderstood you. That was
Yeah.
that was the commitment. You're right.
Okay, so in the multifamily, it's, as I understand it, you're going to start with 10% of the spaces will have EV charging, level 2 EV charging installed at the outset.
Yeah.
And then EV ready in the sense of conduits and panel space and so forth for up to 50% total at the outset. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So will there be electric transformer or whatever technical term is supposed to be appropriate installed at the beginning? Or will that be something you're leaving to the condo owners to fight over later?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
Brian, I'll
Yeah, I was
answer
gonna say
that.
Don may
Yeah,
know
I
the
mean,
answer to that.
we will be filing out the load letters with Dominion, with the power company, to everything to meet the required minimums of what's shown in the proffers. So we will be putting that information in with what we're doing with the power company.
Right.
Obviously, they have their own discretion about what they want to put on the ground sometimes, so we don't control everything, but that is our goal, is to have it designed so that everything is there ready for the full build out.
Okay. And so if an owner of one of the condos, the 10% is being used up, they want to get a new charger put in. Apart from pulling the string that brings an appropriate wire over to the charger location, are they going to have to upgrade the overall electrical capacity of the building, or will that already be pre-installed and it's just a question of implementing it?
It'll be in the panels and everything will be sized correctly so that all I have to do is basically put in a new breaker and pull the wire.
Okay,
That is how we're
that's
currently
very,
doing
yep.
it. So
Yeah, that sounds very good. And I think that's better than I've heard from other developers. Maybe it's the new county policies, but I think that's a good structure, a good approach to doing it. Thank you. On the future regulations on page 11 of the proffers, it says, this is on, page 11E, in the event US EPA, blah, 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 issue new or additional stormwater regulations that affect the applicant will have the right to accommodate necessary changes, blah, blah, blah. Given today's EPA, can you add a phrase that says not weaker than where we are today? In other words, if you're going to be at least at the level today, and of course comply with the law when it gets stronger, that's fine. But I don't trust the current EPA not to weaken it. So can you write it in a way that preserves at least the level we think we're at today? You don't have to decide that today, but I ask you to consider it.
Sure.
I'm sure that was your intent, but I'm more suspicious than you are.
It's funny because I was just about to say we clearly did not write it with the expectation that the strictness of the regulations would be going down. It was more to make sure that we end up, and I've had this proffer in a lot of proffer statements. The idea was that if we ever needed to comply with something else, we wouldn't be caught in a situation where regulations got stricter, and then we couldn't change things in our plan to be able to meet that. So that's how it was intended.
If you can just clarify that it's a floor. Today is the floor. That would be appreciated.
I can't imagine. I'll have to check with Jessica because she's our engineer, of course, but I can't imagine that there would be any issue with that.
Okay, I'm sure it's your current intent. I just page 13, I noticed there's something in paragraph A, something about an 18-foot parking space. Are people going to be bringing semis in, or what's the? Or is that just a typo? Because the next paragraph is an 8-foot parking space.
It's probably 8 feet, 18 in length rather than width. But I may be a typo, so I gotta go look at it.
Would that be the loading space, Brian?
Unless it's
let's take a look at it.
Probably will be 15 by 25, the loading space.
Yeah.
Probably meant
that's
the length.
Loading space. Okay. Okay.
We'll double check that though.
Okay. TDM.
Yeah, thank you.
Help me understand how the TDM is going to work. I'm a strong supporter of TDM. The basic description seems nice, but what happens when you sell the building and you walk away? What money is there to assure the compliance, or is this another fight among condo owners?
So the long and short of it is the program would be turned over to the condo association. So it would be the association sort of managing the TDM program. The association most likely is going to have some level of property management company already, and typically those responsibilities would fall to that company.
Is there any enforcement power that the county will have? I mean, it's one thing to deal with a single developer.
Yes, the enforcement doesn't really change based on whether it's the developer Pulte or whether it's the condo association who's managing the program. The county always has the ability to enforce it.
Do you know of other situations where that's come up as an issue? I just wonder whether.
I can speak to that. In one of our communities, we have a TDM program that has collected quite a large sum of money, and the residents have actually requested that it be reduced, if not eliminated. But they have not, that's something that's in a recorded document, and you cannot get that. That cannot be accomplished without the approval by the county.
Okay. I mean, maybe if you were to set up a prepaid lockbox fund that would cover things for a sustained period, that wouldn't be a problem. I don't know if there's a way of building in a protection against just what you've described of people, hounding their supervisor to let them off the hook so they don't have to comply. That's an area of concern. Think about it, see if there's a way of building in a protection against a future weakening. But so I throw that out. The net on page 23, you talk about the National Green Building Standard. Who writes that one?
Sorry, hang
You
on.
have me, I think you got all of us stumped, but we can certainly look into that and get back to you.
Because some, well, if it uses Energy Star, at least as it existed in 2024, would be a perfectly good standard. But if you could just provide some information on it, part of my problem is I have tried to research organizations like that. So much of it's paywalled that I really can't get it. And it would be useful to have some sense of how strong a standard that would be. If it is really Energy Star as of 2024, that's a pretty good standard.
So two quick things. It's the Home Research Energy Labs as referenced.
Oh yeah, that's the builders. So I think that's the Builders Association.
Actually, David, which standard was it that you asked about?
The National Green Building Standard.
Oh, okay. I was thinking USGBC. That's a different one. Sorry.
Yeah. And the other thing I will note is that the three options in the proffers for the National Green Building Standard, Earthcraft, two options because one's broken down for the multifamily and the townhouses. Those programs are deemed to be equivalent and acceptable from a county policy standpoint. So just for what it's worth, the county essentially endorses those programs. We didn't come up with that on our own.
And Bill, I've done projects through Earthcraft. It is definitely a robust system that's used not nationally but regionally.
Now, Earthcraft, I know its reputation. Oh, okay. The other one I think is sourced from the Home Builders Association's affiliate. That's who that organization is, and so I'm skeptical of it. But if you could find some more information about how it compares to other systems.
Sure.
And since some of it's multifamily, at that level, I assume you're talking about commercial standards of the Virginia Code or ASHRAE. In any event, just some more information. And then lastly, on the bird-friendly element, which I'm glad you have it in here. And it says the design elements may include but not be limited to the use of blah, blah, blah. These, and I think there's some, included but not limited to. If you could just make sure that not limited to doesn't weaken it. In other words, at least as stringent as these other things. So if you broaden it, you at least achieve the same level of protection. And maybe a reference to the American Bird Conservancy standards, at least consistent with that. And I think that would solve the problem. We can talk about that if you'd like.
Okay, sure.
But as a general matter, I think that's a good thing to have, and I appreciate it. Those are my questions for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. William Pegues.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at all of the sort of undefined roofs on the multifamily units and wondering what are going to be happening on those roofs.
There
is-
will be, yeah,
When-
mechanical equipment on the roof. And beyond that, we don't have anything planned for the roof.
Okay, I would encourage you to look at vegetated roofing systems because it can actually considerably lower the temperature requirements for the upper level floors, both in the winter and in the summer. Because even if it's just a thin 4-inch, the minimum thickness for a vegetated roof, has basically 4 inches of soil on top of your membrane, and it will lower the temperature considerably. For instance, a white roof on a 70-degree day will have a temperature of 110. But on a very short, small plant of sedums that are only about 3 inches high and only require 4 inches of growing medium, the temperature at the at the surface of the dirt below the sedums will be basically 71. And that is on a day when the ambient air temperature is only 72. So it's actually 1 degree less than the air temperature itself, whereas the white roof is 110. Those are tests that have been done and are all on record. So one of the thing is that the top floor always has impact for cooling and heating, and so you can do a lot better with a vegetated roof. Basically, that's my comment.
Okay.
I would talk
Thank you,
about
William.
urban agriculture on roofs because it really does work, even on a wood frame stick-built system. But you really don't have enough total area of the whole thing to kind of like make it worthwhile. Although you can actually use raised bed planters on these roofs, and then Haley Rise, which is on the ground when we'll go up on a roof at some point, is run by Uptop Acres in conjunction with the developer and the charitable organization that distributes the food to other charities that actually provide the food to people in need. And you can see the very few planters that are available at Haley Rise provide thousands of pounds of food a year, just those small planters. So that's something else to consider. And that would be what I would really like to see investigated on your side there, just to see that how feasible it can be. There are numerous urban agricultural roofs all around the city.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
William.
Sure.
Yeah,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you. Thank you, William. I'm just going to add a few comments real quick in regards to what William just said. And I know, Lynn, you had asked for some clarifications on stormwater earlier as well. I know that in order to meet the 1-inch retention required by the Reston zoning, you need green roofs and you need other mechanisms to achieve that 1 inch. Can you tell us how close you are to the 1 inch right now or exceeding it?
We're at 46%, and we do not have green roofs, but we do have planter boxes around the multifamily buildings, and we have those. We also have permeable pavers, I guess, for the quality purposes.
So having gone through this many times, as Brian knows, 1 inch can be a bit of a challenge, but 46 is definitely way low, and you can achieve much higher than that. But you need things like green roofs and bioswales and other things like that. And so I think this committee would have an expectation that you would meet something much closer to the 1 inch requirements. Upwards of 80, 90%. And I understand perfection and trying to get all the way to 1 inch can be a bit of a challenge given the constraints in the area. But 46 is just too low, quite frankly.
Yeah, we're working right now with staff to increase that, and we're adding probably more permeable pavers. So yes, our engineers are working on that right now. We're revisiting it.
Yeah, totally understood. And sorry to put you on the hot seat, Jessica.
No, it's just that we have limitations and we don't have infiltration, and so there's so we're just doing the best that we can. We do have those planter boxes around those buildings, and we do have the permeable pavers, but as you know, John, there's just like limited. You either infiltrate, you have fire retention, you have green roofs. So we are doing the most we can, and we're revisiting it. But thanks for your comment.
You're welcome. And unfortunately, you won't be able to get as close to 1 inch as you need to without the green roofs that William's talking about. So it's a real comment that you need to think about. And then Brian, since I'm chatting, and Jessica, I was looking at the fire access, just big picture. I didn't measure anything, but it just looks like you might need to make sure you're getting the right distances and everything for turning around and whatnot. So I'm not saying it's not correct. I just say take a quick look at that.
Sure. Yeah. We'll double check.
Thank you.
And then, we did work with the fire marshal. We had some graphics, and what we're showing is kind of like in concert with some of the coordination that we've had with him. But we'll revisit. You mean the turning movements?
Yeah, just the distances for the turnarounds and things like that. And if they're good with it, then I'm good with it. Something didn't look quite right in a couple spots, but
yeah, we'll take a look at it. Thank you.
Looking high level, so thank you, Jessica. Sue and David.
Thank you, Brian, for your presentation. Over the years, you've increased the FAR. How do you compare that FAR, the FAR today, to the adjacent residential units to your west?
So I would have to take a look at the numbers in those applications. The land area directly to the west, the Lofts 1 property that's developed, the Bognet property to the north, which is also obviously along our western boundary line. That area is in the designated in the comprehensive plan as the residential mixed use area and has a recommendation for 1.5 FAR. And then there's the opportunity for residential bonus density for workforce dwelling units above that 1.5 FAR number. So we're less than the development to the west. So if you think about it in terms of the consistency of the sort of the urban form, we will be sort of at or below what is to our west in terms of intensity.
Okay. And I do entirely agree with William Pegues. I think the rooftop of the multifamily housing buildings should be utilized, all three of those buildings. And also, I would like to see more expanded recreational opportunities. There's a lot that can be done with the roof, the gardening beds, the leisure, patio seating, grilling, dog park, courts. And so I'd really like to see improved recreational amenities. I don't think the small kind of central park you have is enough for the number of residences.
Well, I can't promise anything, so we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's all?
For me, just an additional comment on affordable dwelling units. You say you're doing workforce housing. What percentage of the housing is workforce?
It's around 12.5%. It will be a little bit more than that, but that's based on the proposed development intensity for the project.
Okay. And if the proposed development changes, what changes for the workforce housing?
Well, I guess what I mean is where we sit with the density of the site. That's what at a little bit under 1.4 when you take out the bonus units that are provided for the workforce housing. That drives the workforce housing percentage per the sliding scale that's in the comprehensive plan.
Okay, yeah, I would also, as I believe someone else said, it would be nice to do some refiguring and see if you can't get some affordable dwelling units in there too.
Yeah, one thing understood. One thing I will just mention is that after the changes to the comp plan, there is not as much of a gap between the affordable units and the workforce units. We'll have a tier of workforce units, given that this is a for sale project at 70% of median income.
Okay. I think that's good. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, David.
Thank you, Sue and David. Thank you, Brian. Bill Penniman, did you have something else to add?
Yes, just one thing, and that is I also support having vegetated roofs, but I would note that there are new paints out, new highly reflective white paints out that have the effect of lowering the temperature inside the house. They're better than what may have been tested in the past. Now, I don't know how you keep them clean. There may be a maintenance issue, but at least that's worth considering.
Thank you, Bill. Well, we can take a look at that as well.
Thank you, sir. Before I go to Commissioner Carter, any other comments from the P&Z committee?
Jared Zern.
Yeah, so John, I have a.
I don't see it. Sorry, I didn't see your hand up.
That's okay. So Brian, thanks for the presentation. I have a question and then a comment. I think in the proffers, you do mention the green building standards, but you don't call out levels. You just say, well, we'll either be the National Green Building Standard or you'll meet the Earthcraft. I think it would be beneficial in the proffers if you would identify, are you talking just like the lowest level in each of those? Or are you willing to commit to one of the higher levels, like they each have like a gold level, one has a platinum, one has an emerald. I think that'd be nice to see when you come back with the final, just so we know what you're committing to.
Sure.
And I guess the other comment I have is around the overall massing of the site. I like the way you provided the massing. The concern, if I have one, is around it's building 3B. So that's the 5-story building that's located on the little side street that faces to the east. The concern I actually have it from a massing perspective is I don't have any problem coming down Reston Road, but as you turn, you actually go downhill towards Sunset, or is it Sunset Hills? And then across the street it's the post office where the grade continues to drop. So just from a scale perspective, that's probably the biggest massing concern I have. I totally get the 5 stories on Reston Row and continuing along there. I think it might be a more pleasing experience in the community if that sort of scaled down as you came around the corner, instead of, especially as the grade's going down and the building stays at 5 stories with that combined parking, the building gets taller as we make our way to Sunset Hills. And it's very opposing compared to the structures across the street, which I highly doubt the post office building is going to change anytime soon. So that's just my thought on just overall massing of the site. I like the way it built up towards the back. It just seemed a little heavy in that front corner, especially since you had noted the property line is right there on that eastern edge. You don't have a lot of room. So we're kind of committing to a 5+ story building, like feet off of the property line. So those are my thoughts to consider as you come back to us.
Yeah, thank you, Jared.
Yeah, good point, Jared. All right, Bill Penniman, another comment or hand still up? All right. Any other P&Z comments before we go to Commissioner Carter? Okay, Commissioner Carter.
Okay, I've got a couple. Brian, you've heard me say this before. It's the setback from Reston Station Boulevard. Is it the same all the way along there? You don't have to answer it. It's going to be that way. We're having several issues in the area. One is this loading area, spaces for the handicap, and short-term parking. So I guess the concern is no waivers on those issues. And then spelling out how you're going to enforce those things. That's what's been happening, because we have private streets and streets that are supposed to eventually be public, but right now they're still private. So making sure we have those spaces with no waivers and coming up with a enforcement mechanism. Then the next one, is you might hear me say, is the placemaking. So we now have a pattern of streetlights in some areas there. So I think we should pick something. The EYA portion may have the best, but something like that for the streetlights. And then the trees, we should make sure they're at least the same width or the same diameter as was originally planted. And then the streets, isn't it 2 moving lanes, 2 bike lanes, and 2 parking lanes? Isn't that what you would be proposing for this area?
Yeah, it would be 1 travel lane and 1 parking lane.
In each direction?
One travel lane in each direction, yes. Correct.
Yeah. Then I believe the staff's working with you on the need for a new road that's on the, I guess I'll call the western edge. So I think that access is yet to be worked out.
That is correct. We had some detailed conversations with the county staff team about that recently. I have been exchanging some emails with David Gill, who's representing Bognet on the adjacent property, and we're going to get together sometime this week to talk about that and coordinate. But I think I'm optimistic that there is a resolution of that to be agreed upon by the owners on both sides of the lines for the ultimate implementation of that road.
Yes, and my last comment, sometimes there is a sense of drifting away from the comp plan requirements. So there's a couple things to be considered. What would be the mix of land uses in this area? Understanding that you don't have any office in this, but you do have office adjacent to it. So we'd like to hold as much as possible for that 75-25 in this area if you include the adjacent office. That would be one. And then I think there's a misunderstanding about these WDUs and ADUs. My understanding is 16% would be the requirement for workforce housing. Half of those are at the highest tier. A quarter of them would be, I'll call it the middle tier. And then a quarter of them would be at the lowest tier. And the middle and the lowest are close to the ADU requirement. I assume I'm correct with that. That would be from the comp plan. So that's what we'd be looking for.
That you are correct for rental units. So there's the rental recommendation is 25% of the WDUs would be at 60%, 25 would be at 70%, and 50% would be at 80% of AMI. But on the for sale side, it's 70, 80, and 100 for the AMI tiers, which is what's in our. We're like I said, we are contemplating a fully for sale project, but we have both options in the proffers because as everybody knows, the county does not require us to stipulate whether it's for sale or rental. And so we have both options in the proffer. So the numbers, the percentages that you just noted, we have for the rental program, although we're not expecting that it would be rental.
But you're until the percentage of the overall would be 16% since you're over 1 FAR, correct?
That's only when you get up to a 3.0 FAR. So it's the sliding scale that's in the comp plan for Reston. So since I
didn't have it in front of me.
Yeah, so since we're not that far over a 1.0 FAR, we're not that far above 12% because 12% is the baseline.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Those are my comments.
Thank you, John.
Okay, thank you, John. And I don't see any other P&Z hands raised. Let me just check page 2. Okay, seems like we're good. Okay, Adam, I know that you had your hand raised originally, and you can go first.
Thank you. I'm from the board of directors for the Lofts at Reston Station Phase 1. So we'll obviously be significantly impacted by this project. Thank you, John, for bringing up some of the concerns that we have. We recently met with Supervisor Alcorn and some of the developers in the area about some of the issues we're facing in the neighborhood. We were the first project built in this neighborhood before Rooney built Faraday Park and before EYA built their townhomes and Knudsen built their townhomes. So I just want to go over some things, concerns we have as an association that we hope can be addressed by this committee as well as the Planning Commission and hopefully the Board of Supervisors. Thank you, John, for mentioning the loading zone issue. So just to give this committee some historical background, Pulte applied for a waiver to not have to build a loading zone for our building, and they were granted that waiver. And they said as part of the waiver that we could just use the spaces that are behind the building that are meant for residents and visitors. That is not a practical way of having a loading zone, because those spaces are being used by either, let's say, visitors or residents who live here, because there's not enough parking in the garage for everybody. So I really hope Pulte will make a guarantee that they will not apply again for a waiver to get out of the loading zones, because that's created a huge issue for us, not having a loading zone. The Reston Station Boulevard, when we first opened up our building here, we were the first ones here, like I mentioned. Pulte had built the section between Easterly Road and Michael Faraday Drive, and then subsequent sections were built by EYA from Easterly Road, I'm sorry, from Michael Faraday Drive to Wheelie Avenue, and then Rooney built from Easterly Road to Sunset Hills. The issue, we have a couple issues right now. One is every section except for Pulte's section between Easterly Road and Michael Faraday Drive has been striped for bike lanes. So if you're riding a bike, let's say you start from Wheelie, you have a bike lane, then you get to Michael Faraday, between Michael Faraday and Easterly, there's no bike lane. And then there's a bike lane again on the other side of Easterly to go to Sunset Hills. I've asked Pulte to stripe it, and they said, well, we will before we turn the project over to VDOT, the road over to VDOT, but that could be years away. In my opinion, they need to stripe it right now, not 5 years from now, whenever the road gets turned over to VDOT. So I am requesting again that VDOT make sure that bike lane is continuous, because right now it's not, it's broken up. There's a section that has no markings for the bike lane. Then there is no short-term parking that John mentioned, or parking for delivery trucks. We have a huge issue where it's like New York City, where delivery trucks double parking because there's no place for them to go. Or you're getting a food delivery from Uber Eats or whatever, DoorDash. It's a huge issue because unfortunately we have people who park here who walk to the metro, because we're close to the metro, who are going to live in the neighborhood. And there's no, because of the private road, we can't do anything about it. So that's a huge issue in the neighborhood that we're dealing with currently. We really need, hopefully with this project, we're worried about having even more people in the neighborhood. It's going to make the problem even worse. So we really need to do something about that. There needs to be a delivery zone area that's, signed off in front of the buildings or near the buildings, so that when there's Amazon or FedEx or UPS, they have a place to, park their truck. The dust, having lived here through Faraday Park being built and EYA and the Knudsen townhomes, dust was a huge issue. My balcony and our building and windows were just dust was, caked on there, really thick dust. I feel that Pulte, if they're going to go ahead with this project, they need to do something to mitigate this dust and clean our windows and our building and our balconies, because I can tell you from living through previous developments, it was a huge issue. And I had to hire someone to clean my balcony. Then line of sight issue. I think, John, I might have showed this to you when you were out here, but currently the section of Reston Station Boulevard between Easterly and Michael Faraday, where my building is located, is wider than the section between Easterly and Sunset Hills. And I know that will get widened out if this project's approved, but in the meantime, there's a retaining wall there that blocks our line of sight. So when we come out of Easterly Road from our parking garage or parking lot, we will make a left or right to go onto Reston Station Boulevard. We can't see, especially to the left, because there's a retaining wall there. I know I asked Pulte to they can install a mirror so we can see the traffic coming on Reston Station. I'm not sure what's happening with that, but that's a huge safety issue that really, until this building, it's gonna be years for this building, even if it's approved to, get built. In the meantime, we have a huge safety issue there. Parking. I know that Pulte's proposal is above the minimums, and I know it's above what the staff wants. I don't know how the staff determines these guidelines, but I can tell you from our building, if you're gonna have 2-bedroom condos, you have to have 2 spaces for a 2-bedroom condo. Now I live by myself. I only have 1 space. That's all I need. But if I ever go to sell, people often will buy with 2 people and then want to have 2 spaces. And it's a huge issue. We don't have enough parking, and which has led to people parking in the street, which has led to the issues I just described with delivery people and other people not having a place to park, for short-term uses. So the last thing I'll mention is 2 more issues. Sorry. Thank you for your time. Traffic control. When we had these other developments built, it was like the Wild West out there. There was no traffic control, people controlling traffic, because like when Faraday Park was built, we had a tiny, less than half the width of the road was available for us to use. And I was almost hit once by one of the little bulldozer things. And I hope Pulte will commit to having some sort of traffic control in place, because they want to widen Eastleigh Road, and that's what we want the access points for this development. But that's going to create issues for us, because we have that's how we get out to Reston Station Boulevard. There needs to be some sort of traffic control person there to make sure that, because that was a huge safety issue. And I think Barry's on the call. He's from my association as well. He can talk about it as well. He's been here the whole time. That really needs to make sure that there is some sort of traffic control mechanism or person or in place when this development starts, if it's approved. And the last thing I'll mention is that these roads are still private, but Reston Station Boulevard is supposed to be hopefully turned over to VDOT sometime, and I hope they're not too distant future. And we had a meeting about this recently with Supervisor Alcorn was there, as well as Pulte and EYA and others, Comstock. I reached out to VDOT and to find out what the holdup is, because developers are claiming they're ready to move forward, but VDOT's holding up the process. That's not the answer I got from VDOT. The answer I got from VDOT was the developers haven't submitted a package together. So I really encourage these developers to get together, including Pulte, and get this paperwork submitted so we can get the ball rolling to get this road hopefully turned over to VDOT sooner than later. Because hopefully once that happens, we can start to work on some of the other issues in the neighborhood, such as the short-term parking and the delivery zones and all that kind of stuff, and having enforcement, time limits on parking, instead of people parking here and walking to the metro. Well, thank you for your time. Those are all the comments I have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Jean Lee.
Hi, I have a very similar issues as just previously mentioned, previous person. The parking is a big issue because like you mentioned, the access to the garage is very difficult. There's big trucks on the way. The working trucks are working in front everywhere while you're there. So that's one concern I have. And when I look at your plot, those townhomes along the back side of it, along the Sunset Hills Road, I do not see the parking lot in front of us of townhomes. Do they have a garage? Do they not have a garage? How do they get to their garage? Do you follow what I'm saying?
They will have garages. There's one garage space per unit for the 2/2s that are along Sunset Hills Road.
So they will have a direct access from Sunset Hills to get to their own garages, not through the neighborhood.
No, they'd have to go in on Samuel Morse Drive and then come around through the alleys internal to the site to access their garages. There won't be garages on Sunset Hills Road.
You mean they have to go through that nice circular parking area, that brick area you mentioned? They have to drive through there? Is that what you're saying? Can you show us that picture again, the map? I was confused.
Yeah, hang on just a second. Let me bring it back up. Oops, hang on. So the parking to get to the back of the units here, you drive over this area and you're here, and then same thing on this side. So you drive over this area here.
To me, get to that area onto the right side that you have to go through that nice built area they have to drive through. It's not really comfortable place, a park. There's, cars gonna come in and out of the garage and it's just not a good, I hope you can come up better way to access those 4 or 8 townhome unit parking. First of all, they don't have any extra parking space outside to begin with, like the other ones, and they have to go around around that area, that brick area, the nice area. People probably just like to walk, and kids gonna be out there playing, and you're gonna have cars going through. I don't think that's a good way at all. So I really appreciate if we can adjust somehow. So I don't know what's possible at this point.
Well, just one quick clarification. This shaded area here, tan, whatever color you want to call that, in this area here, that it's that color because those are the permeable paver area. That's not counted as part of our park space. This isn't a park.
But my question is, that's people is going to be hanging around, kids going to be around, supposedly in the middle, and you have cars driving through that area, that brick area, the permeable brick area you have put it in there. I think that needs to be changed somehow so that these townhomes have a better access to their garage. That's the one thing I really like you to change it, because as already, I know it's going to be a problem with people living there. And another thing I want to mention is the dust and all those equipment trucks, that you need to have for building this thing. I'd like to know what the timeline you have. I don't know when this is going to be approved, but you must have some timeline in your plan. Could you just tell us when do you think this project is going to go, assuming everything goes through? And how long do you plan to build this thing? Because last time, I mean, it just takes so long for us. I've been already there for almost 10 years since and you're still building, and we're gonna have to go through this dust, living through the dust, like Adam just mentioned. So can you just give us some timeline? I really appreciate it.
So I'll turn it over to Don to answer the question on how long the overall construction process would take once it begins. But just for what it's worth as well, I'll note that at the conclusion of the rezoning application, which again, we're hoping would be before the end of this summer, we would need to file a site plan with the county. That process would take about a year. And then we would need to file building permit applications with the county as well. And that would probably be also about a year. So it would be about 2 years from the time the project is approved until construction would begin. In terms of the construction timing, I'll turn it over to Don to answer that question.
Yeah, actually, just to clarify, we will probably break ground and start moving dirt prior to having building permits in hand. So we're probably looking at the earliest we would be moving dirt out here is third quarter 2027. That it could start anywhere from third quarter 2027 to first quarter 2028. And I would assume that based on this schedule, we're probably looking at about 2 years of construction, roughly.
Thank you so much for your answering. I'm really concerned about the parking, not having a short-term parking, no delivery places, all those things are really, everything is just so tight in there. In my opinion, those 4 right townhomes that you have towards the Sunset, that need to go and give us more parking. I really think that needs to be done. So there's more short-term parking available from Sunset Hillside, and people can walk around. It just everything is like you keep increasing your dwelling units and over the time. And I understand you need to do that, But I think there's, really need to consider the usage of those areas. So the 4 buildings of townhome should go and give us a little more parking space so everybody can park and people can walk around in their neighborhood. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jean. Looks like Adam, do you have another comment?
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, I apologize. This sort of goes to what John talked about with lack of enforcement, where we've had issues getting Pulte to plow our half of Reston Station Boulevard and our half of Michael Faraday Drive after the storm last month. I reached out to Pulte 5 days after the storm, asking when they were going to come. And at first they claimed they didn't have to plow, that Michael Faraday Drive was not their responsibility. But after reaching out to the county and Mark, who's here on this call from Supervisor Alcorn's office, I showed them that you actually are responsible for your half of Michael Faraday Drive and your half of Reston Station Boulevard. This storm we had yet last night, unless they did it today. Last time I checked, they still hadn't plowed their half of Michael Faraday Drive. This is an ongoing issue. And my question, I don't know if this is the right venue or not, but what do you do when you have a developer who's just not following through on what they're supposed to do? I don't know, John, if you can answer that, but this is an ongoing issue. And I'd like to know what the county.
So I think that would be appropriate for a different venue, Adam. But appreciate all of your comments today. We're really focused on this particular
Got it. All right, thank you.
Application, but understand what you're saying. Looks like Barry Steinberg.
Yes, I am a resident of the old Lofts, which is next door to what you're considering. A couple of comments. First, just a brief comment about the EV charging situation. I would suggest that you require a written proffer from Pulte that there is going to be adequate power in the building at the time that certificates of occupancy are issued to allow for the additional hookups. Putting panels on the wall is not good enough. If you exceed your power limits in the building, you cannot add more power. We know that because Pulte did not do that in Lofts number 1. And now we're looking at costs in excess of $100,000 to run more power lines in because we don't have adequate power to power the number of cars that want to be there with EV chargers. So that's just a comment. Number 2, in terms of putting roof gardens on, a recollection is that it's either 4 or 5 stories under the fire code where you can use wood framing. If you want to go higher, I don't think you can use wooden framing. When you put roof gardens and soil on top of a building, which have to have moisture, you're going to have additional load-bearing requirements on top of a wooden building where you are already putting your HVAC units up on the roof. There's a capacity issue that I think has some significant cost implications for what the trade-offs will be there. Now, the other issue, and I am confident you're going to tell me that this is not your job, but you're bringing more traffic onto Reston Station Boulevard. 5 years ago, when I moved in, the intersection at Reston Station Boulevard and Wheelie Avenue was pitiful, and it has not improved over time. I've gotten explanations that it's the state's fault, it's the county's fault, it's bad planning, we didn't see it coming, Comstock did this. Everybody has pointed a finger at everyone else. Now we're looking at probably another 3 or 4 years. So it will be 9 years after the certificates of occupancy for the first lofts were issued before this will be a walkable community where you can get from your door up to the Wheelie Metro, which is obviously, the cornerstone of the whole development out here. Before you can walk up there, you do not have a straight sidewalk that will get you up there right now. And when you get to the intersection, the lighting is terrible. It's a 4-way traffic for everybody except the pedestrians. How we could spend millions of dollars to protect bicyclers for a crossover so they don't have at-grade crossing on their bikes on Wheelie, but people don't get as much consideration. And I'll just tell you, I pay more taxes than any bicycler does from what I've been able to observe. And that covers people that don't even live near here. So it is time for the county and the state and the developers and everybody to figure out how to solve the traffic problems around here. The notion that there's not going to be much more traffic coming in from this development, I've seen the data, I understand it. Look at the number of parking spaces, look at the road network, and you don't need to be a transportation expert to figure out there's some increase. I would also point out that, on the road that we're talking about, at present, there are school buses that go back and forth across these roads and up to the Wheelie intersection, which is pitifully planned and for which no one seems to want to take responsibility. All they want to do is rearrange the chairs, the deck chairs on the Titanic, and quite frankly, that's not good enough.
Okay,
I will-
thank you. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I will just offer one note, which is understood in your comments about the intersection at Wheelie, although it is not in its ultimate condition. So there are additional obligations that are part of the original midline zoning approvals, and the buildings closest to Wheelie haven't been built yet, which means they haven't been occupied yet, which means they haven't triggered all of the improvements to that intersection. So it's not part of the reason, and I understand your frustration, but part of the reason is that it's not finished yet.
Well, I could verify that it's not finished. I've seen that every day when I walk to work.
Yeah. No, that's at some point it will be finished, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I hope I live that long.
Yeah, thank you, Barry, and thank you, Brian. I guess as you're talking to the transportation folks on the project, I'm sure they're looking at all of that as a holistic analysis.
You want to take bets on that?
Sorry, I don't appreciate comments like that, sir. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other comments from Commissioner Carter or the Planning and Zoning Committee?
Not from me.
Okay. Well, thank you. Oh, almost got there.
Yeah, I was just a quickie, and that is based on the comments we've heard from the people living nearby, maybe the density is too great, and we can look at that.
Okay, thank you, Bill. All right, thank you, Brian and Jessica, Don, and crew. I'm sure we'll be seeing you in the coming months, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. John, I will be in touch so we can coordinate on schedule and how we can come back and when. I understood on your agenda, so we'll have to figure that out. So I'll reach out to you about that.
Yeah, thank you. And if we need to work on a special meeting or something, we have done that before. We prefer not to, but if necessary, we can work through something.
Okay. Yeah, understood. Thank you. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night.
I didn't have anything else official on the agenda. However, I know Tammy had mentioned the passing of our friend Dick Kennedy, and I just wanted to personally say something, and I didn't know if anyone else wanted to say something, but I certainly appreciate all of his years of service to this committee and everything he did for us and all the many things that he did for the community at large. He was a good man, and we miss him. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that. Would anyone else like to say anything? Yes, Tammy.
Just to alert the committee members that a mass for Dick will be held at 11 a.m. at St. John Newman Church on Lawyers Road on March 20th, which is a Friday. So if anybody chooses to attend that, that's that information.
Thank you, Tammy. Looks like Bill Penman.
Yeah, I would just add Dick Kennedy, in addition to being a wonderful member of the committee, was just a really decent human being. And it's nice to have known people like that. That's all.
Couldn't agree more. Would anyone else like to say anything? Okay, well, thank you all for your comments and time tonight. Is there any new business? Anything else anyone wants to mention? Okay, I don't see any hands. Thank you for everyone for your time. Great comments, great partnership here, great professionalism. Thank you very much. Hope you all have a great night.
Right.
Oh, I
Good
guess
night.
I'll assume that we have a first and a second for adjourning.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, thank
I
you.
move we adjourn.
Okay.
Seconded.
All in favor?
All right.
All right.
Good
Thank
night.
you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.